Okay, hello everyone again. Today is day 3 of American School, and today we're going to learn about music, the instruments of the world. So you will need your workbook and a pen or pencil. Let's get started. Okay, the instruments of the world. First, what instruments do you know? So what instruments can you think of? So if you know the instrument, you can put a check. Okay, the first one, violin. Who knows the violin? And the xylophone? The saxophone? Do you know the saxophone? I think so. How about the French horn? Or the trumpet? So if you know the instrument, you can think of it. So then you can click, or you can write to mark that you know it. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so now we're going to learn some new words. Please follow along in your book here. You can find the word list here at the bottom of the page, and please find the word when we cover it. Okay, so our first word, they are, so what are they? They are musical instruments. Okay, so you can find the word now, instrument. So instrument, and then you can check the word and write the word in English and Korean. So you hit the symbol and it vibrates. Can you say vibrate? Okay, and now the drums are an example of a percussion instrument. So percussion. You know, this dance is traditional. So can you say traditional? And these instruments, these people are playing brass instruments. So say brass instrument. So some of the examples, the tuba, the trumpet. Okay, now these people, they're not modern, they are indigenous. So can you say indigenous? And now the hagum is an example of a string instrument. It's a string instrument. And what's happening here? Oh, produce. Produce. Okay, now this, the flute. Oh, wow. This is an example of a wind instrument. So blowing like wind instrument. Okay, now Mickey Mouse walking along, and with his lips, he is buzzing. He's buzzing. Okay, and now Mickey Mouse is not buzzing. He's got a harp, and he strums the harp. So strum. Now the guitar, we pluck. No, I don't think the cat is a musician, but the cat can scratch. So you can make music by scratching. So scratch. Okay, now here there are 20 instruments and the sounds of them. Let's just listen to a sample here to the first one and try to guess which one it is. So here we go. So number one. Okay, so what is that? Okay, so that is a church organ. You can listen to all 20 and try to guess which one you hear. Okay, so now we're going to begin our reading section. And our first part is about instrument families. Okay, the first family we have is the string instruments. So this ukulele has strings, so we call it a string instrument. Okay, so we have an example song. It's famous, being played by string instruments. So can you guess what it is? What is that? Okay, it's very pretty, and that is the theme from Harry Potter, played by string instruments. So now we have some examples of string instruments, and we will learn about how they are played. Okay, so the sounds of string instruments come from the strings being strummed, plucked, or bowed. Okay, so strummed or plucked like a guitar, or bowed like a violin. So now some examples of famous string instruments. We have the violin. You can try to guess the next one is a cello. And then the most famous these days is the guitar. Okay, now our next instrument family is woodwinds. Okay, so again, an example song. Let's try to guess. What's that? Okay, so if you maybe have seen the movie The Incredibles, that is from The Incredibles, played by woodwind instruments. Okay, so woodwind instruments, how do they make a sound? So woodwind instruments produce sounds when air is blown in and vibrates inside. And the examples we have, first one is a clarinet and a saxophone. So some of the famous instruments from the woodwind family are the flute, clarinet, and the saxophone. The next family of instruments are the brass instruments. What is this song? Oh, wait, we all know that. Too easy, too easy. Yeah, it's a Disney song from the Little Mermaid, so Under the Sea, played by brass instruments. Okay, so uh, what are they made of? And also, what makes the sound when you play a brass instrument? So brass instruments are made of the metal tubes, and they get their sound from the player's, can you guess? Buzzing lips. Okay, so some examples. So some of the famous instruments from the woodwind family are the flute, clarinet, and the saxophones. Actually, it should be brass. So these are brass. So we have the trumpet and the French horn. So, okay, so next are percussion instruments. Okay, so what is this Disney song from? Let's find out. Oh, it's from the movie Frozen. So percussion instruments. So what are the ways to play them? And also, what are some examples? So most percussion instruments make sounds when they're hit, such as a drum or a tambourine. Others are shaken, rubbed, or scratched. So shaking a tambourine and hitting the xylophone and scratching the record. Okay. So now some famous instruments of this family are the bass drums and the tambourine. Also a xylophone and tambourine. Okay, so fun fact, the piano is a percussion instrument, right? Because it hits strings, actually, when you hit the keys. Okay, so our next part of the reading section is instruments from around the world. So we're going to do a little geography tour of musical instruments. So first, we have a steel drum. And as a drum, it is a kind of percussion instrument. And it is from the countries Trinidad and Tobago. Let's listen to the steel drum. Okay, very cheerful sound. So next we have a sitar. So the sitar is it's a string instrument from India, and it was invented hundreds of years ago, but became, what's another word for popular? It became famous in Western music in the 1960s. Sound of the sitar. Okay, let's move on. So next we have the didgeridoo. Uh, so where's this instrument from? So it is from Australia, and it is actually considered so it is a brass instrument used by the Aboriginal people of Australia. It's not made of brass, it's made of wood, but we buzz into it with our lips. Here's an example. Okay, a very unusual instrument made of wood. We buzz into it. Okay, so next, the pan flute. The pan flute is a common, so what kind of instrument? It's a common woodwind instrument in Peru. And it's an important part of, let's see, so the kind of culture is traditional indigenous music in the region. Let's listen to the pan flute. Okay, so you can see the pan flute here is actually in his hands, and then he's playing another kind of traditional flute in Peru. Okay, so now some final examples. From the United States and also from Latin America. So another unique instrument. So what is this? Oh, so another unique instrument. Other unique instruments around the world include the musical saw. It's a percussion instrument actually, and you know what this is? Does anyone know the Legend of Zelda? Ocarina of Time? Okay, yes, it is an ocarina. So the ocarina is a woodwind instrument in China and Latin America. Okay, so let's review now. So the back of your worksheet, you can find the families of instruments and some examples. So the didgeridoo, do you remember? It is a brass instrument. And how about the piano? It is percussion. And how about the guitar? Oh, easy, string. And the trombone is a brass instrument. The steel drum, percussion. And the musical saw, it's also percussion. The violin, a bowed string instrument. And the ocarina it's a woodwind instrument. And the pan flute, also a woodwind. And how about maracas? They are another percussion instrument. And the sitar is another string instrument. The trumpet is our last brass example. Okay, so we now can have a look at this page. So let's be creative. Let's quickly go through and figure out where the instrument is from in the world, on the world's map. Okay, so let's see, the flute. Where's the flute from? The musical saw, the didgeridoo, steel drum, ocarina. Okay, and the sitar. So the flute, the pan flute is from Peru. And next, from the USA, we have the musical saw. And next, from Australia, we have the didgeridoo. And the steel drum, Trinidad and Tobago. And then from China, we have the ocarina. And from India, we have the sitar. Okay, so you can You can do the crossword puzzle at home on your own time. Let's now do a comprehension quiz. Okay, so there are 4 families: instrument or musical. Instrument, so musical instrument, instrument. Okay, percussion instruments make sounds when you hit them. The didgeridoo is a brass instrument from, is it from Australia or Austria? Oh, Australia. And to play a brass instrument, make a buzzing sound with your lips. Okay. So now the sounds of string instruments come from from keys or strings? Oh, of course, strings, they're string instruments. And now the drum is a percussion instrument from Trinidad and Tobago. The steel drum or the brass drum? It is the steel drum. And the is a string instrument from India. So the guitar or the sitar? It's the sitar from India. So now the flute is a common instrument in Peru. The wind flute or the pan flute? The pan flute. Okay, now the clarinet and saxophone are instruments. They are woodwind instruments. And the is a percussion instrument from the United States. Oh, the musical saw. All right, well done, you all. And thank you for joining us today at your home for our American music class. You can also do the craft, which is to make actually a speaker. It's pretty cool. So have a good afternoon, and I will see you in our next class. Okay, take care. Bye.